Welcome to my channel, HFY Story Hub. The child pointed at the human, and the entire alien war fleet activated its weapons. Every light inside the chamber turned red. Dozens of armored guards slammed their rifles forward. A translator voice screamed through the station. "Do not let her touch the human." But the little girl was already running. Commander Nathan Hale didn't move. Not because he wasn't afraid. Because every instinct in his body told him the terrified child wasn't the danger. Her mother was. The alien queen crossed the steel chamber like a storm wrapped in silence. 7 feet tall. Black armor edged with silver fire. Pale violet skin glowing beneath the emergency lights. Her silver eyes locked onto Nathan with the coldness of deep space itself. Behind her, warriors of the Kharis Dominion aimed pulse weapons at every human in the room. One wrong breath could start a war. But the child ignored all of it. She crashed into Nathan's legs and wrapped her tiny arms around him. The station fell completely silent. Not one sound. Not one breath. Even the alarms seemed quieter. Nathan slowly looked down. The girl's skin was trembling blue. Her white hair fell over frightened silver eyes. She looked no older than 6. And she was crying. The queen's voice came low and dangerous. "She chose you." Nobody understood the words at first. Then the translator repeated them. "She chose you." Admiral Ross beside Nathan immediately stepped backward. "That's impossible," he whispered. But Nathan kept staring at the child. Because she wasn't afraid of him. She was hiding behind him. From her own people. The queen stepped closer. Every human soldier tightened their grip. Nathan noticed something strange then. The warriors behind her looked nervous. Not protective. Terrified. The child buried her face against Nathan's chest and whispered something broken in her alien language. The queen closed her eyes for one painful second. Then she spoke softly. "She says the darkness cannot hear you." Nathan frowned. "What darkness?" The queen looked directly into him. And for the first time since entering the station, the alien ruler looked afraid. 3 hours earlier, humanity had been preparing for extinction. The Kharis Dominion had appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system without warning. Thousands of warships. Massive black structures capable of cracking moons apart. No negotiations. No demands. Just silence. Every species in the galaxy feared the Dominion. Because wherever they traveled, entire civilizations disappeared. Human colonies along the outer systems had already gone dark. No survivors. No distress calls. Earth expected invasion. Instead, the aliens requested one human. Commander Nathan Hale. Nobody knew why. Nathan himself barely understood why he'd been selected to greet them. He wasn't a politician. He wasn't Earth's greatest soldier. He was a rescue pilot. A man famous for impossible evacuations during the Titan collapse. The kind of human who ran toward dying people while others ran away. Now he stood inside Meridian Station orbiting Jupiter, facing creatures that could erase humanity in a single afternoon. And somehow, their child had chosen him. Nathan carefully lowered himself to one knee. The little girl tightened her grip instantly. "It's okay," he whispered gently. Her wide silver eyes lifted toward him. The translator struggled for half a second. Then her tiny voice emerged through the speakers. "You feel warm." Several alien soldiers shifted uncomfortably, like those words meant something terrible. Nathan glanced toward the queen. "What does that mean?" The queen hesitated. That alone shocked everyone. Power radiated from her like gravity itself. Creatures like her did not hesitate. Yet now she looked uncertain. Finally she answered. "My daughter has never touched a living mind that did not hurt her." A chill crawled through the chamber. Nathan looked back at the child. She slowly reached for his hand. The moment their fingers touched, every screen in the station exploded with static. Human soldiers shouted. Lights flickered violently. Outside the observation glass, one of the giant alien warships suddenly powered down completely. Then another. Then another. Across the darkness of space, Hundreds of Dominion vessels began shutting off like candles in a storm. Panic erupted through the command deck. What the hell is happening? Energy systems collapsing. Unknown signal spreading across the fleet. The alien warriors looked horrified. Not confused. Horrified. The little girl suddenly gasped and grabbed Nathan tighter. "She hears it!" one alien guard shouted. The Queen spun toward him with fury. "Silence!" But it was too late. Nathan heard it too. Not through speakers. Not through translators. Inside his head. A whisper. Cold. Ancient. Hungry. Where is the last human world? Nathan stumbled backward. Blood dripped from his nose instantly. Human soldiers rushed forward, but every alien warrior raised weapons at once. The child screamed, and every electronic system in the chamber died. Darkness swallowed the room. Only the stars outside remained. Then the Queen spoke into the silence. "There is no more time." Emergency lights slowly flickered red across her face. Nathan saw something he never expected. Tears in her eyes. "The void found your species," she whispered. Admiral Ross stared at her. "What is the void?" The Queen looked toward Earth, glowing faintly in the distant stars. "The reason civilizations disappear." Nobody moved. Nobody breathed. The child clung to Nathan's arm like he was the only safe thing left in existence. Then the Queen gave the order that changed human history forever. "All Dominion fleets." She paused, as if the words physically hurt her. "Will defend Earth." Every human in the chamber froze. Ross looked stunned. "You came here to protect us?" The Queen's expression darkened. "No." She looked directly at Nathan. "We came because my daughter saw your face in her nightmares." The whisper returned inside Nathan's skull. "Closer now. Older than worlds. We are hungry." Outside the station, the stars themselves began disappearing. The stars were vanishing. Not exploding. Not dying. Vanishing. One by one, tiny lights across the blackness simply disappeared, as if something enormous was moving between galaxies and swallowing them whole. Meridian Station shook violently. Emergency sirens screamed through the corridors. Human officers shouted over each other. "Long-range sensors are failing. We're losing visual contact with the outer fleets." No, that can't be possible." Commander Nathan Hale stared through the observation glass while the alien child held onto his arm with both trembling hands. The darkness in space was moving, and it was coming toward Earth. The Kari's Queen stepped beside him. For the first time since arriving, the terrifying alien ruler no longer looked like a conqueror. She looked hunted. "The void has awakened faster than expected," she said quietly. Admiral Ross turned sharply. "You still haven't explained what that thing is." The Queen's silver eyes remained fixed on the growing darkness. "Because your minds are not prepared for the truth." Nathan wiped blood from beneath his nose. "Try us." The chamber lights flickered again. Then the whisper returned. Closer this time. "Where is humanity?" Several soldiers collapsed instantly, screaming and clutching their heads. One human technician began crying uncontrollably. Another pointed his pistol at his own helmet before two Marines tackled him to the ground. The Queen's warriors reacted with visible fear. Not fear of humans. Fear of the voice. The little girl suddenly stepped in front of Nathan protectively. Her tiny body trembled violently. "She says it can smell him," the Queen whispered. Nathan looked at her sharply. "Smell who?" The Queen finally met his eyes. "You." Silence hit the chamber. Ross laughed nervously. Why would some cosmic monster care about one human rescue pilot? The Queen didn't answer immediately. That terrified Nathan more than anything. Finally she spoke. "Because humans should not exist." The room froze. Nathan frowned. "What the hell does that mean?" The Queen slowly raised one clawed hand toward the stars. For millions of years, every advanced species followed the same path. Logic replaced emotion. Efficiency replaced instinct. Fear disappeared. Eventually, the void came. Another star vanished outside. The void hunts consciousness, she continued. It feeds on civilizations once they become cold enough, predictable enough, empty enough. Ross crossed his arms. That sounds insane. It is survival, the Queen snapped. Her composure cracked for the first time. You think your wars make you monsters? Your emotions are the only reason your species survived unnoticed. Nathan stared at her. You're saying humanity survived because we're emotional? No, her voice lowered. Because you are irrational. The child looked up at Nathan with wide, frightened eyes. The Queen continued. Humans love when survival says abandon. Humans sacrifice when logic says flee. Humans bond with strangers. Risk yourselves for weaklings. Die for ideas. Your minds are chaos. Another tremor shook the station. And the void cannot predict chaos. Nobody spoke. The realization crawled slowly across every face in the room. The galaxy hadn't ignored humanity because humans were primitive. It had ignored them because humans were dangerous. Suddenly, a Dominion officer burst into the chamber. His armor was scorched black. Your Majesty! He dropped to one knee, breathing hard. The outer defense line is gone. Ross blinked. Gone. The officer looked physically sick. 23 warships disappeared in under 60 seconds. The chamber erupted. That's impossible. No weapon does that. The officer's voice cracked. There were no weapons. Everyone went silent again. The officer looked toward Nathan. They heard the human. Nathan felt ice enter his stomach. What? The Queen closed her eyes briefly. Too late. The officer continued nervously. The surviving crews reported the same thing before transmission loss. The void changed direction after contact with the station. Nathan slowly realized what that meant. It wasn't searching for Earth. It was searching for him. The whisper returned instantly. Found you. Nathan collapsed to one knee. Pain exploded through his skull. Memories that weren't his flashed before his eyes. Dead galaxies. Burning worlds. Civilizations screaming into darkness. Then, humans. Ancient humans. Not modern people. Something older. Standing against impossible black storms among dead stars. Nathan gasped hard as the vision vanished. The child grabbed his face desperately. Her tiny voice shook through the translator. You must not let it remember. The Queen's expression changed instantly. Pure horror. What did she say? Ross demanded. But Nathan already understood somehow. The thing in the darkness knew humanity. Not Earth. Not modern civilization. Humanity itself. And somewhere deep inside his mind, something was beginning to wake up. Warning sirens suddenly shifted tone. A station AI voice echoed overhead. Unknown mass detected. Everyone turned toward the observation window. At first Nathan thought space itself was tearing open. Then he realized something worse. Something massive was emerging from the darkness. Not a ship. A creature. Its body stretched across kilometers of empty space, made from moving black smoke and shattered light. Thousands of glowing white eyes opened slowly across its surface. Entire Dominion warships looked microscopic beside it. Human soldiers forgot to breathe. One alien warrior dropped his weapon and whispered a prayer. The creature moved toward Earth. Slowly. Hungrily. Then every screen on the station activated at once. One message appeared across all languages. Return the human. The child screamed. The Queen immediately drew her blade and stepped in front of Nathan. Her warriors followed instantly. Not against humans. Against the thing outside. Ross stared at her in disbelief. You're willing to fight that? The Queen's eyes hardened. No. She looked at Nathan. We are willing to die buying him time. Nathan's heartbeat stopped cold. Why me? The Queen finally revealed the truth. Because the void remembers what humanity did to it the last time the stars went dark. And outside the station, the creature smiled. The creature outside the station smiled. and every person who saw it forgot how to breathe. Its white eyes opened across the darkness like endless graves waking up. Then Meridian Station lost gravity. Human soldiers slammed into walls. Alarms exploded through every corridor. Outside the observation glass, entire alien warships twisted apart silently, crushed by an invisible force. Commander Nathan Hale grabbed the little girl before she drifted upward. The child clung to him, terrified. The Kari's queen stood unmoving in the chaos, her silver eyes locked on the monster beyond the stars. "The Void King," she whispered. Even her warriors looked broken saying the name. Nathan forced himself upright. "You said humanity fought this thing before." The queen nodded slowly. "Long before my species touched the stars." Ross stared at her. "That's impossible. Humanity barely survived its own history." "No," the queen said quietly. "You survived because your history was erased." The station suddenly shook so violently the observation glass cracked. A voice thundered inside every mind. "Return what was stolen." Nathan collapsed to one knee. Images slammed into his head again. Ancient humans. Worlds burning. Massive black creatures falling from the skies. And humans fighting them. Not with advanced weapons. With themselves. Nathan saw human soldiers holding impossible lines while entire planets evacuated behind them. Mothers shielding children from living darkness. Pilots crashing ships directly into void creatures knowing they would die. Humanity had done something no other species could understand. They chose sacrifice over survival. And the void feared that. Nathan gasped as the vision ended. The child touched his face gently. "You remember now," she whispered. The queen looked horrified. That should not be possible. Nathan slowly stood. But something inside him had changed. The fear was still there. Yet beneath it was rage. Pure human rage. Outside the station, the void creature moved closer to Earth. Millions would die within hours. Nathan looked at the blue planet glowing far beyond the glass. His home. His people. Flawed. Violent. Emotional. Beautiful. The whisper returned one final time. "You cannot win again." Nathan stared directly into the creature's endless eyes. Then he answered aloud. "We don't need to win." Everyone turned toward him. Nathan's voice hardened. "We just need to refuse to quit." The queen froze completely. The child smiled through tears. Because suddenly, she understood humans. Emergency signals screamed again. Planetary shields collapsing. Void entity entering attack range. Estimated extinction event in 12 minutes. Ross grabbed Nathan's arm. "What are you planning?" Nathan looked toward the station hangar. Then toward the massive Dominion fleet. A terrible idea formed in his mind. Human. Dangerous. Impossible. Perfect. He turned to the queen. "Your ships still use neural cores, right?" She narrowed her eyes. "Yes." "And the void tracks consciousness?" Realization slowly spread across her face. "No," she whispered. Nathan nodded. "If it wants the human mind so badly." He looked back at the monster outside. "Then let's give it one." Ross went pale instantly. "You're insane." "Probably." Nathan smiled weakly. "That's kind of our thing." The plan spread through the station in seconds. Every alien in the chamber called it suicide. Every human volunteered anyway. That was the moment the Kari's Dominion truly became afraid of humanity. Not because humans were strong. Because humans would walk willingly into hell for strangers. The Queen watched human pilots prepare their ships with calm determination. No panic. No hesitation. One young mechanic laughed while sealing his helmet. Another recorded a goodbye message for his daughter. A wounded Marine missing an arm demanded a fighter anyway. The alien warriors stared in disbelief. One finally whispered the words spreading across the fleet. "Humans are broken creatures." The Queen answered softly. "No." Her eyes followed Nathan. "They are unstoppable." Minutes later, hundreds of human ships launched from Meridian Station. tiny against the cosmic nightmare waiting outside. The void creature opened across space like a living abyss. Thousands of eyes locked onto Nathan's fighter instantly. "Found you!" Nathan gripped the controls tighter. Fear shook his entire body. Good. Fear meant he was still human. The child's voice suddenly came through his calm. "You showed me your son," she whispered. Nathan smiled sadly. "Yeah. It was warm." Outside the cockpit, Earth glowed brilliantly against the darkness. Nathan took one final breath. Then every human ship accelerated directly toward the void. Not away. Toward it. The galaxy watched in horror. No species had ever charged the void before, because survival always came first. But humans were different. The closer the fighters moved, the louder the creature screamed inside their minds. Pilots began bleeding from their eyes. Ships exploded. Still they kept going. Nathan's hands trembled violently on the controls. The void filled the stars now. Endless. Ancient. Hungry. And for the first time in billions of years, afraid. Because it remembered humanity. The species that refused extinction. Nathan opened a fleet-wide channel. His voice spread across every human and alien ship alive. "If you're hearing this," he swallowed hard, "protect each other." Then he smiled. "And tell Earth we were worth it." The fighters hit the void together. Light exploded across the solar system. The darkness screamed. Not with anger. With pain. For one impossible moment, the void began breaking apart. Human minds. Human emotions. Human sacrifice. The one thing it could never consume. The shockwave tore through space itself. Alien fleets were thrown backward. Station systems died completely. Then, silence. The darkness vanished. The stars returned. Earth survived. Across the galaxy, billions watched the impossible unfold. Humanity had faced a cosmic god, and taught it fear. Days later, the Kari's queen stood beside Nathan's memorial overlooking Earth. The little girl held a small human flag against her chest. "He was afraid," she whispered softly. The queen nodded. "Yes. But he still went." The alien queen looked toward the bright yellow sun, finally understanding why humanity terrified the stars. Because courage was not the absence of fear. It was walking forward while afraid anyway. And no species in the universe had ever done that better than humans.